When I'm creating content, I often use AI to come up with video titles, and I was on the vidIQ content planner and gave me the idea of the 10 new weapons in Splatoon 3. This got me curious. I wanted to know what would happen if I generated a script for these weapons, and if it would actually give me what the new weapons are at the time when this season was about to come out, or just make up some random stuff. And it did just make up some random stuff, but they sounded like fun weapon concepts, so I'm sharing one with you. And I've tried to get AI to generate artwork from them, and some of them didn't really work, and some of them did work, but for the one that didn't work, you can just enjoy the images. The first weapon idea is the Ink Grappler, described as a slick new weapon that lets you swing around and get into the map and drop on your enemies. To me, this just sounds like the zip cast, but instead of grappling, it would let you swing. I'd assume it would be like the mechanics as the Spider-Man glove was in Fortnite. I guess this would be fun for Splatoon, but it'd be redundant because of the zip caster. And I feel like the movement of this weapon would make it hard to counter, so I'm okay with what we have. The next weapon idea that comes up is a Splat Stamper, which is described as a high-powered weapon that sends shockwaves blasting ink across the stage. This sounds like the Ultra Stamper, and the Splatana Stamper's name has just been combined into one, with the shockwave effect of ink. Sounds cool. Imagine something like a booyah bomb that does less damage but would ink more. I assume that's what it's describing. The next weapon that it created is a Squid Hammer, a new melee weapon that allows you to smash your opponents and paint the floor at the same time. This is literally the Ultra Stamp with a different name, so there is not much to say about it, but what do you think? Is this a better name for it? The next weapon that it has the idea for is the Ink Turret, which is described as a stationary weapon that lets you rain ink down on your opponents from a safe distance. This sounds like it would be a cool concept for a special, but from games I've played in the past, it's incredibly difficult to get a stationary weapon to be balanced. It's either too OP or unusually bad in the game. In a game like Splatoon with a lot of moving, it would probably not fit, and there is already heavy splatlings that do a similar job to a stationary turret, just allows a little bit of movement. The next weapon that it creates is a Squid Shield that takes a 6 monoliths, which is described as it provides a way to both defend yourself and your teammates while also providing an offensive capabilities with its sharp spikes. This sounds like the big bubble, but with the added effect of spike damage that if the opponent cross into it, and it's definitely an effect that I would not like added to it because it would feel like the big bubbler needs the weakness of being able to be walked through to be countered to make sure it's balanced. And it creates the interesting strategies when the opponents are up close where you can keep walking through the shield to fight opponents. The next thing that it suggests is a Squid Cycle, which is described as a speedy ride that lets you zoom around the map and cut your foes down to size. This is completely unique and is not in Splatoon. I definitely think that with swimming in Splatoon 3, rides would not be necessary, but it could be cool if there was a minigame travelling between the normal area and the DLC area with a Squid Cycle. Next suggests the Bubble Blaster, which is described as a weapon that shoots out explosive ink bubbles that engulf the enemies in the surrounding area. This sounds like a blaster, not more that can be said for it. The Bubble Blaster naming would be redundant because the blaster fires bubbles and all the blasters fire bubbles, so the Bubble Blaster name probably wouldn't make as much sense. The next thing suggested is the Splat Roller Coaster, that is described as a new version of the original Splat Roller with the added feature that allows you to launch yourself up into the air for surprise ink attacks. This one sounds insane. Imagine the roller can fly up and hit you from above with no time to react. There is a reason that it's not in the game, and it sounds like something that would be impossible to balance. I do think the name made for it is appropriate. On our second to last spot, we have the Octopus Octozoonator, which is the weapon that shoots out a wave of ink similar to the main hero weapon, killing nearby opponents and painting the map. This really sounds like it could be any bullet weapon in the game, but most likely similar to the hero shot, so I cannot say a lot for it. Maybe it could be a main weapon for the Octoling, the equivalent, because of the name, but at this point it really feels like the AI run out of creative energy. It's okay, Mr. IA, it happens to all of us. The final weapon that it suggests on our list is the Squid Beacon Launcher. This is described as launch beacons across the map for yourself and your teammates to jump to and later on get a tactical advantage on your opponents. Squid Beacon is already in the game, but with a combo of the Squid Beacon and the Super Chump, this would be insane. If there was something in the game that just launched Squid Beacon, it would be so hard to get map control back, and this definitely should not be in the game. So, which suggestion did you think was the best one and should be added to the game? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, see ya.